Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on the View from the Crowd YouTube channel. And today we are going to be previewing the 2020 Spanish Grand Prix. Triple header. It's getting a bit, two triple headers already this season, and we're only coming on to our 6th race. Crikey. Anyway, I've got a 2-week break off before Spa, so that's going to be nice. But first, we're going to have to endure what could possibly be another very painful Spanish Grand Prix. Now, last weekend was amazing due to the fact that we could have all these tyre debates and all this stuff. But this weekend, we're probably not going to have that, considering Pirelli are just going to be using the 3 hardest compounds yet again around the Circuit de Catalunya. Not really surprised. It's pretty tough track on tyres, but it does mean that tyre strategy is pretty much going to be a one-stop unless the temperatures we are promised really do start to cause issues for the teams and we get to see sort of multiple different strategy options. I'm hoping we get some strategy options in this race because it made this last race so much better. Now we start with Mercedes, who of course struggled with the tyres last weekend. It was a pretty tough race for them, and I don't think they'll be wanting a repeat of that. I think with the tyre choices that Pirelli are bringing to this race, hopefully they can manage their issues that they tend to have with hot weather, especially regarding tyres this year and last year. So it's looking like it could be another pretty dominant race for Mercedes, a lot harder to overtake on this track. So if, let's say, the Red Bulls have another great race, might be a little bit more tricky to get past the 2 Mercedes drivers. Now on to Red Bull. Red Bull looked very good last weekend. They managed the tyres excellently, and I don't think they really put a foot wrong. Of course, as I mentioned, they're going back to the harder tyres this weekend, so Red Bull won't really be able to sort of exploit that tyre strategy that they were able to last weekend, but it could make things a lot more interesting if the track temperature is going to be high as predicted, because I might bring Red Bull back into the fold. They have a great car, and they showed a lot of good pace in pre-season testing around Catalonia, but of course so did Mercedes. They were completely dominant with testing, but I guess we're going to find out in the not too distant future. Alex Albon will of course be hoping that he gets yet another Q3 appearance and hopefully another top 5 finish. It hasn't been a great few races for him, but he's starting to bounce back now and starting to really show that he is getting to grips with that Red Bull car, which of course can only mean the world of good for both Alex and Red Bull. Now on to Ferrari. Of course, Charles Leclerc had a great race last weekend at the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, making that one-stop work amazingly, but I think Ferrari had to struggle a little bit more on this track. They did fairly well in Hungary, given the bit more higher downforce, but I don't think that's going to work out for them this weekend. I think they could definitely be in a bit of trouble. Their downforce isn't really where it is, and I think there's going to be a lot of teams, maybe the Racing Point, McLaren and Renault, who are going to also be competing quite heavily with them this weekend as usual. The key for Ferrari this weekend, though, it's making sure that Vettel has a good race. They are already confirmed that they are doing a chassis change for him, so hopefully that might be able to improve his race pace and quali pace that bit better. It's still going to be tough for Sebastian Vettel, though. He really does not look comfortable in that team or in that car, and I do not expect him to be out qualifying or even finishing ahead of Charles Leclerc in the race. It's going to be difficult. Now on to McLaren, who it's fair to say had a pretty tough time of it last weekend. Carlos Sainz finished outside of the points, and Lando Norris just barely in the points in P9. But I think they're going to be very determined to finish the race in a much higher position this weekend. I think they do have the pace to do so, and I think we could see some special things from them, especially in qualifying. I can see McLaren doing very well. Carlos Sainz's home Grand Prix as well, so that's just going to give him, that extra bit of boost to do well, even though there aren't any fans there. Now on to Racing Point. I think their minds are going to be pretty much anywhere but on this weekend. They're appealing their decision over their brake ducts. It's all a bit of a messy situation. Hopefully when it's resolved, I'll do a video starting from where it started to where it finished and sort of talking all the sort of the details in between, because it was just a very, very messy situation that we're currently stuck in. It is the dark side of F1 politics. It does make for some juicy stories, but it does not reflect very well on the image of Formula One. It's still unknown who will be the other driver in the Racing Point this weekend. Of course, Sergio Perez is still waiting on a negative COVID test, but that will be done on Thursday, and he's currently isolating in the UK, so getting him out to then on Spain on Thursday to then race, it could be a little messy. Could be sort of what we saw with Nico Hulkenberg at the British Grand Prix. I think the safe option, even if Perez does, get a negative test, I think it's best that Nico Hulkenberg probably does race this weekend. Just then you've got 2 weeks before the next Grand Prix at Spa, which I think will do the world of good for Perez, not to just rush into a Grand Prix after sitting that last two. He can ease himself in a lot better if he takes that sort of extra 2 weeks and then comes back fresh for Spa. Now on to Renault, who have been showing good pace, and it does appear that that car is very quick. Daniel Ricciardo has been pulling out some excellent qualifying pace from that car. Esteban Ocon bringing out some great race pace in that car. It's about time that team gelled that car and made it an all-round great car. It's going to be difficult for them, but I think they're definitely capable. They've got two incredibly talented drivers in their team, and I think if they just sort of scratch their heads a bit, I think they can definitely find a good compromise between quali pace and race pace, and then they can really start cracking on in this constructors battle, because as I've already said, they've got a good car, they've got good drivers, just need to get that package sorted. Now on to AlphaTauri, again showing good quali pace, good race pace, but just not getting things quite right. Gasly had a pretty awful strategy in the last race, and it really did cost him a good shout at a decent amount of points. Daniel Kvyat though did an excellent job to get 10th place in the last Grand Prix. I think he's really starting to get to grips with that car. Pierre Gasly, of course, has been showing some great pace, and it's really showing up Alex Albon over the last few weekends. But again, I think this could be a little bit more tricky for AlphaTauri. They didn't do the best around Hungary, and they're definitely going to be needing a good performance here if they have any shot of points at all, if they're wanting to get that sort of lower end of points. But who knows at the moment? That midfield is such an absolute cluster of it's so close that teams are dipping in and out of the points at will at the moment. So as long as they can capitalise on it, I think they could potentially do very well. Now into the collective cluster of Alfa Romeo and Haas. Again, don't expect much from them. Alfa Romeo is potentially probably the back of the grid, but who knows? Haas, they need more Q2 appearances. I think they need to make sure that that's their key focus, is getting into Q2 every race, getting at least one car in, because we know that it's most likely that the Williams Nicholas Latifi is going to be in sort of that bottom five. That leaves 4 cars remaining. They don't want to just them and the Alfa Romeos sorting out Q1 every time. They need to make sure that they're getting either Magnussen or Grosjean into Q2, and just then having clean races. We've seen Grosjean being an idiot and weaving across the track. We saw Kevin Magnussen coming onto the track incredibly dangerously against Nicholas Latifi in the last race. What a stupid move that was. They need to... I don't know what it is. Gunther needs to sort those those two guys, bang their heads together and go, hey, we're in serious trouble here, we need to get some points, and you two just keep messing it up because of your reckless driving. And if you remember, these two came together in the last race in Spain, so don't know what you can do at Haas. But at Alfa Romeo, you've got the slowest car in terms of raw pace. It's alright in terms of race pace. It's better than the Williams. It's probably on par with the Haas. It isn't a great car. Kimi and Antonio seem to be doing alright in the races. But if they've got any hope of scoring any more points, they've got to get that done. They've got to really sort themselves out. And if they do get a good quality position, or even find themselves in a decent position in this race off the start or something, they're going to be aided in the fact that this track is difficult to overtake at. Just park your car in the middle of the track and hold on for dear life. Finally, onto Williams. One thing you need to think about of Williams is the fact that their race pace is just so poor. You know, George Russell, he's done, amazingly in qualifying. You know, he's got 4 Q2 spots. He's got 4 2Q appearances in the last 5 races. That's incredible considering they had absolutely 0 in the whole of 2019. It's just they need to start converting that into actual, do something about it in the race, because it just seems to be lap 1 they fall to the back, and yeah, it's a mystery how Williams seem to have great qualifying pace and then just nothing in the race. Is it the tyres? Is it the fact that their car just doesn't work over long distance? It's a weird one, and it's something that Williams needs to figure out quickly, because otherwise they're going to end up even worse than last year with a better car. That's it for the 2020 Spanish Grand Prix preview. My predictions for the race are probably going to be Hamilton. I'm going to give it to Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas in terms of the top 3. Definitely got Mercedes on pole, probably Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, hopefully we see something with track temperature or something that'll just make this race a little bit more spicy. Of course, we are racing at Barcelona a lot later in the year than we usually would. Of course, we'd get to Barcelona around April, May time, and now we're in August, very hot August. Everyone's having at the moment. So it could make things a little bit more interesting. Catalonia has never been the site of great racing. But hopefully that will change. After such a great race last time, it'll be a real shame if we had then such a terrible race in the next one. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. My name is Louis Edwards. Thank you.